This is PRIME7 Local News with Madeleine Collignon, Kenny Hinkley and meteorologist Carl Linders with your local weather. Now, PRIME7 Local News at 6.
Tonight, Ballina Shire Council steps up its campaign for a clear-cut policy on whale beach burials.
The Premier's regional tour of the Mid-North Coast, and she came bearing gifts.
The Aussies on fire against England in the Ashes one-dayer in Coffs Harbour.
And we've seen some thunderstorms and showers across the region, so how much rain did you get at your place? I'll tell you soon.
Good evening. Councils on the North Coast are demanding the New South Wales government put an end to whale beach burials.
That's at least until there's science on whether leaching from carcasses attracts sharks. Ballina Shire Council wants other shires to join in pressuring the government to review its current policy.
The carcass of a young humpback whale, buried, then exhumed on South Ballina Beach, is now the centre of political debate.
Well, the science is still out on whether or not burials on the beach actually lead to shark activity, but I believe it should be banned until the science is in.
That's also the opinion of North Coast surf groups. Ballina Shire Council has set into motion efforts to have the state's current policy overhauled, writing to the government.
We need better communication and we need a review of that entire policy that sees the Department of Office and Environment and Heritage working closely with local councils.
Council claims it was never consulted on the burial at South Ballina and later had to use its own facilities to dispose of it. The state's Premier is willing to have the discussion.
They're things that I'm happy to discuss with all communities. Of course, we always want to deal with compassion when it comes to animal welfare, and I'm sure that the community will make those representations to us for consideration.
With a record whale migration this year, it can only be expected that there will be more washing up on our beaches. That's why councils want this issue addressed sooner rather than later, in the hope of reducing the prevalence of sharks at our beaches into the future.
Councillor Cadwallader says Ballina cannot fight the battle alone, calling on coastal councils to join forces.
Let's be forward thinking in this and restore community confidence by taking them off site.
Chris Wall, PRIME7 News.
Premier Gladys Berejiklian has visited the Mid-North Coast to announce a new storm vehicle for the State Emergency Service. It's a timely reinforcement after storms lashed the region overnight. The vehicle has already been put to work.
It is a seasonable visit for the state's leader. As many homes across the region clean up after being lashed by storms, Premier Gladys Berejiklian arrived in Taree to announce a new storm vehicle for the State Emergency Service.
I find myself coming up in the midst of a major operation where there's 7 crews out there with storms that hit this region, Mid-North Coast, yesterday afternoon.
But with the phones in the emergency centre ringing with call-outs,
I'm here to say thank you to all of you.
The new vehicle is already being put to work.
The actual light storm vehicle, which is worth about $180,000, we're officially about to hand over to Steve and his team, is already out there on the job doing the work.
So today, as a result of last night's storms, it's out doing a number of jobs in terms of making safe those damages that have been, those houses that have been damaged by storms last night with heavy hail, rain and high winds.
It's the very first job of what's expected to be a very busy next few months for the SES.
October through to March is the storm season, so we do see 3/4 of the SES requests for assistance come during this time.
The new vehicle will ensure the local crews are well equipped into the storm season.
The new trucks and the better equipment are needed and very much needed for our volunteers.
Tomorrow, the Premier will attend the 2017 Mile Lakes Community Awards. Eloise Wilson, PRIME7 News.
A 58-year-old man who removed another man's testicle in a hotel room has been sentenced in the Port Macquarie District Court. Samantha Crowe was in court for the hearing. And Sam, what's the latest?
Alan George Matthews was sentenced over 3 charges in the Port Macquarie District Court today. The 58-year-old had previously pleaded guilty to the removal of another person's human tissue without authority or consent, to prescribing or attempting to prescribe a restricted substance, and grievous bodily harm. Today, Judge Clive Jeffries found that the former aircraft engineer had already suffered as a result of the publicity that has surrounded this case. He heard he'd lost his 38-year career career and had been assaulted as a result of the offence. Now, the judge decided that that was extracurrial punishment and handed Matthews a 5-year good behaviour bond.
All right, thanks, Sam. Samantha Crowe there in Port Macquarie.
An investigation is underway into a serious crash involving an ambulance on the Pacific Highway this afternoon. The ambulance transporting a heart attack patient flipped and rolled on the M1 ramp after it collided with a vehicle towing a boat. One paramedic was flown to Gold Coast Hospital with abdominal injuries. Those in the other vehicle were uninjured. The result of the same-sex marriage postal survey will be known in under 3 weeks, and today was the last day recommended by the ABS for posting your vote. The Coalition for Marriage leading the No campaign is on the North Coast as the clock ticks down.
Christians in Coffs Harbour gathered last night to listen to Lyle Shelton from the Australian Christian Lobby and Marriage Alliance as No campaigners in the marriage law plebiscite use every spare minute to defend traditional marriage.
What our children will be taught in terms of radical LGBTIQ sex education in schools as a consequence of removing the gender diversity requirement from the Marriage Act.
Welcomed by many, rejected by just as many, Shelton chooses his words carefully.
We'll have to obviously accept the democratic decision of our fellow Australians, but while ever we have free speech and a democracy, there'll be millions of us who will continue to argue for the truth about marriage.
With no protesters in attendance, his appeal to vote no fell on welcoming ears.
It's just basically counterculture to my own beliefs, and coming from a Christian viewpoint, that's where I'm always going to land.
No campaigners realise they're in the minority in this debate, but that doesn't stop them pushing their case for the retention of the current Marriage Act, saying to do otherwise is an attack on the family and freedom of speech.
Because once the law is changed, if you assert that marriage is between one man and one woman, you fall foul of what's called hate speech laws, and you can be taken to a tribunal and fined.
Votes received after November 7 will not be accepted. Voting yes or no is equally legal. The results will be announced on November 15. Terry Allen, PRIME7 News.
The knitting nanas have taken to the street in Taree to protest against Queensland's Adani mine. The ladies set up in front of MP David Gillespie's office and sang in a peaceful protest against the project. The nanas say they are taking a stand for the next generation.
We're appalled to think that the government could actually be out there giving $1 billion to prop up a quite unethical company that's internationally renowned for their unethical environmental practices, let alone their human rights.
There's been a compromise on the close optional status of Tyagra Beach near Byron Bay. There was a move to stop nude bathing at the beach due to concerns about the number of sexual assaults in the area. Instead, Byron Shire Council has decided to allow the practice 200 metres south of the beach's entrance at Grays Lane, as well as installing signage. Naturalists have questioned the 3 months that's been given to see if the policy is improving safety.
A clear-cut decision after 3 months, to me that's no amount of time. This problem's been continuing for a long time, and naturists and others are grouping together to try and cooperating with police to try and get it happening.
Council will review the policy early next year.
It's time now for a quick check of the weather with Liz Gwynn.
So Liz, it was pretty active across the region last night.
Certainly was, Kenny. We had hailstones in some parts and a lot of rain, and that was widespread right across the region. Well, hello everyone. It was a pleasant day to end the working week. Very different story from yesterday afternoon when those thunderstorms and showers rolled in. Now, in the past 24 hours, some of you got 2 millimetres at best, but there were a couple of standouts last night. Now, Taree received 13 millimetres of rain in the past 24 hours and 8 millimetres fell northwest of Kempsey. Now, looking at temperatures, it was a top of 23 degrees in Taree today. 26 was the top in Port Macquarie after a low of 16, and 24 the top in Coffs Harbour. Now, there were some strong winds around today though, which did prompt the Bureau to issue a wind warning for the Coffs and Macquarie coast. Those winds are expected to ease tomorrow, and guys, I'll have the latest weather forecast for you right after the break.
All right, thanks Liz. We'll see you after sport.
Still to come in PRIME7 News, a sneak peek inside the new Lismore Regional Gallery.
And a successful rescue mission for a baby owl.
Coming up in Prime 7 News at 6:30 tonight, we'll have the latest on the citizenship saga as the High Court verdict sparks a by-election with Barnaby Joyce out of Parliament. Police won't lay charges despite finding organised crime has infiltrated the NRL, and Donald Trump backtracks, refusing to release all of the JFK assassination files.
After nearly 60 years, the art world has a permanent home in Lismore. The new Lismore Gallery will be unveiled tomorrow. Prime 7 News was given this sneak peek.
Like a master artwork, the new Lismore Gallery is about to be unveiled.
As a full piece, it's just fantastic.
Since 1954, the arts community has hoped one day it would have a permanent home. Now it does, located next to the city's library and conservatorium.
They'd used what could be said as a pretty shoddy old 1960s school block, very utilitarian building, but they've managed to create something pretty unique and special.
Everything from storage for the gallery's collection to an expansive viewing area. The works of favourites Margaret Olley and Jeff Hanna watch on over a new era, one that will allow big shows to come to town.
We basically couldn't take many travelling shows whatsoever. I mean, we occasionally did, but every time it was always it felt a little bit risky. We didn't have proper storage for the crates, or we couldn't take delivery properly off the street.
With the opportunity to grow and show new talent, the gallery is a new tourism opportunity for the Northern Rivers as well.
The visitation will be increasing. I see people will be coming down from wider afield to visit the gallery and staying overnight and buying dinner and all those sort of financial benefits.
That all starts tomorrow with the official opening, then events right across the weekend. Chris Wall, Prime 7 News.
An adorable little tawny frogmouth chick has been reunited with its family after a big fall. The little one was found in the dark yesterday morning.
This tiny little frogmouth owl is just a few weeks old, and at 5:30 yesterday morning he was separated from mum and his brother or sister when he fell from his perch and was found on the ground at the Ramada Hotel. The two adorable chicks are new additions, but the owls are not.
Mum and Dad have lived here for 13 years since construction of the property, and they normally live in another tree in the courtyard here, and this is the first time they've bred in 13 years, so it's very exciting to see the chicks.
So resort staff were determined to help. They kept Barb well fed and hydrated, and a post on social media got the attention of Woodvale Tree Services. In no time at all, they arrived to help. Barb was safely loaded into this bag before being winched up, and a confused mum watched on as the little one was placed back.
We just took it back up, and luckily it sort of backed its way onto the branch there, and yeah.
After a couple of minutes, the baby made its way back up to mum. A close Australian animal encounter for one very English tree arborist.
You saw them opening their little beaks. It's cool. A little Ace Ventura moment.
And after 13 years watching mum and dad, resort staff couldn't be happier to see the little family back together.
First time they bred, and to see the baby on the ground was very upsetting, so we've done what we could do to get it back up the tree to mum.
Samantha Crowe, Prime 7 News.
Ace Ventura indeed. Still to come in Prime 7 News, the Aussie girls on fire against England in the one-day Ashes series.
And the ladies take to the greens at Tuncurry, raising money for breast cancer research. Australia has taken a commanding 2-0 lead in the Women's Ashes series with victory over England in the second one-day international last night. Local fans have one last chance to see the girls in action before the series heads to Sydney.
Australia's captain Rachel Haynes turned in a match-winning performance with the bat to help the Aussies to an imposing 6 for 296 off 50 overs.
Being your eye on the ball. Oh, she's cracked one down the ground. 6!
In reply, England lasted only until the 42nd over, falling 75 runs short.
Straight up in the air. This should be it. All over. Yes, it is.
England all out for 209 in the 42nd over. The Aussies were pleased with the local support and the condition of the pitch at Coffs Harbour's International Stadium.
I think these are world-class facilities, and I think more and more world-class events should come to Coffs Harbour. It's a great place, and we've really enjoyed the hospitality also. and we had a wonderful crowd. So, yeah.
The third one-day international will be played in Coffs on Sunday before the teams head to Sydney for the only test match of the series. Terry Allen, PRIME7 News.
More than 200 golfers have made the most of the sun, teeing off for the Westpac Rescue helicopter. Corporate teams hit the course at Ballina with perfect conditions, only a slight breeze sending some players into a spin. Player numbers were up for one of the Chopper's largest fundraisers for the North Coast.
We actually have our special helicopter propeller hats that are a part of the day. The teams have to use them as a part of their golf game, believe it or not.
I want one. Today's match for the cause has raised $10,000, helping keep the Chopper in the air. Hundreds of ladies have hit the greens for the Tuncurry Breast Friends Golf Day. The competition raises money for breast cancer research, a cause close to the hearts of the players.
Today, the green was scattered with pink in Tuncurry. Ladies have travelled from near and far to take part in the Breast Friends Golf Day to raise money for breast cancer.
There's 110 players here today and they've come from mainly Foster Tuncurry area and Hallidays Point, and there are a couple of visitors. I know there's one lady here from Melbourne.
It's a cause close to the heart of the golf club community.
We have a few ladies here who have been very involved with breast cancer, and so we wanted to keep our fundraising within the local community.
The competition began to heat up early with some impressive golfers taking to the green, but at the end of the day, organisers say it's all about having fun and raising money for an important cause.
We're fairly competitive. There's quite a few A-graders out there and going across all the divisions, and many of them are combining, so hopefully there'll be a lot of fun and laughter out there.
It's not the first time the charity golf day has come to Tuncurry. Last year it raised a generous amount and hopes to match it this year.
Last year we made about $2,500, so we're hoping to get up near that again today.
Eloise Wilson, PRIME7 News.
How's the weather looking at your place this weekend? Liz will take us through the maps. That's up next. See you soon.
Well, the weekend is almost here, so Brendan is back to check out conditions along the coast.
G'day guys, welcome to the weekend. Holy dooly, look at this weather, it's incredible. We've had some fun little waves around this week, some small little peaks from the northeast. Anyway, let's head on through and see what's happening this weekend. This weekend is still looking a bit ordinary. South-facing beaches might be the best option. With the way the weather's shaping up, it's looking pretty small out there. Head to the most exposed beaches. Sunday, the winds seem to be easing, so not a lot on offer there either. If I was looking for a wave this weekend, I'd stick to the northern corners. With this northerly wind and small swell, I'd be looking at somewhere maybe like Tallows. Similar conditions across the mid-north coast this weekend too. Let's face it, if you pack your board and head down the beach, you won't be seeing much. At least jump in the water for a little freshen up. Now, if you're heading out to catch a few this weekend, things seem to be settling down as the day goes on. Both wind and seas are dropping around lunchtime and the days are mostly fine. UV levels are really, really high, 9 or 10. So make sure you throw your sunnies, hat and plenty of sunscreen in your tackle box this weekend. Don't forget to check the latest warnings from the Bureau of Meteorology before heading out this weekend, and all safety precautions are taken. Righto guys, so if you're heading out this weekend, the sun's going to be out, there's going to be some small waves, there's going to be good conditions for fishing. Probably a great weekend to head out there and have some fun. Catch you next week.
Brendan getting the jump on Movember. Now for a closer look at the weather forecast, we're joined once again by Liz Gwynn.
So Liz, Brendo's excited about the weather this weekend. It's looking pretty good, yeah?
It's looking beautiful out there, Canny, and it will be really nice, and those winds will ease, so it'll be really lovely on the coast. Hello again. Well, after the thunderstorms, rain and even hail in parts that we saw last night, it will be a really nice, fine start to the weekend, and much like what we saw today. Now, that's as this high-pressure system dominates the weather in our part of the world. It will stay fine next week, but we could expect a cooler change on Tuesday. That's as southerly winds push into our part of the world, and that could cause daytime temperatures and also overnight temps to drop drop by up to 10 degrees. There's also the chance of showers as well. So as you saw in that report earlier, a fine and sunny day right across the region tomorrow. Perfect weather for the tastings on Hastings Festival. It will be 27 on Coffs Harbour tomorrow. 30 degrees will be the top in Kempsey. 25 will be the top in Byron, and also 29 degrees in Lismore. Now on Sunday there is a very slight chance of a shower. The Bureau is saying there's 30% of about 0.5 millimetre at best, so there's really not a lot in it, and temperatures will be around 30 degrees. Now the chance of some unsettled weather on Monday evening. 32 will be the top in Coffs Harbour, 33 in Lismore there. Now the winds will ease tomorrow, which is really welcome relief after those strong winds along the coast today, which even prompted some warnings, and they're expected to stay really nice throughout the day. So guys, really do make the most of the weather rather this weekend, because it's going to be really nice.
Yeah, looking good. All right. Thanks so much,
you.
Liz. See you again Monday.
Excellent stuff. Thanks for that. And that is your local news for tonight. You can discuss tonight's stories on Facebook.
And also watch tonight's top stories on our website. Now, PRIME7 News at 6:30 with Daniel Gibson. Have a wonderful weekend. We'll see you again next week.